My name's Adele King. I'm from Brisbane, but I spent my primary school years living here. I lived here from 1984 to 1990, and so I was here from year 1 to year 6, and I've always wanted to visit the island again, and there was no time like this year. I just decided that none of us were getting any younger. My parents are ageing, and I really wanted to bring them back. And so, yeah.
Did you choose the surname King because of King Island? Or what? They must have known you as another name.
I know. Everyone says that back home when I was coming here. But no, I married a king from the back of Wynyard. So that was just coincidence.
And your maiden name for people
Phillips,
then to know?
That's right. Phillips was my maiden name. So Dennis and Lorraine Phillips are my parents. My dad, Dennis, worked for Telecom. So we lived in front of the Telecom Exchange at the start when we first moved here, and then we moved up to another house closer up towards the racecourse after that.
And what time are we talking? 70s, 80s, 90s?
So 1984, we moved here on Australia Day 1984, and we left on Australia Day 1990.
And coming from where at the time?
So we were in Burnie before that. I went to Somerset, Somerset's where we lived actually. I went from Somerset Primary. My brother was at Somerset Primary, and so my oldest brother Scott, who is also on this trip with us, he came to King Island for high school. He was here from year 7 to year 10, and then had to go back to be at Hellyer College. My younger brother and I stayed on for the 6 years. So.
And at the time you said to Mum and Dad, why do we have to go to a boring little island?
Oh, no. I loved the idea of coming to an island. In fact, I was 6, so I didn't think anything of it. Yeah. But I desperately did not want to leave. I didn't want to leave.
But that was only at the age of about 12 then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was 12 when I
left. Why didn't you want to leave? What was...
I just loved it. I loved my friends. I really loved mutton birds. And I loved crayfish, and I loved all my friends, and I just didn't want to leave. Yeah. And it was hard. Actually, it was really hard going back to mainland Tassie, going back to Burnie. And
what's your strongest memories of that time?
It's been really strange being here because there were things that I remembered, but there's things that I'd forgotten that I've now remembered. So my strongest memories of being here are things like the Australia Day festivities that used to happen down at the jetty. That was really fun, and Dad was part of the raft race for Telecom. That was fun. I remember having sandcastle competitions down there. I've got strong memories of kelp harvesting with Dad. I've got strong memories of mutton birding and fishing, and Penny's Lagoon. We went to Penny's a lot. We were friends with the Watleys, and we used to visit Watto's Yambakuna schoolhouse and camp there. So they were strong memories. They were things that I definitely wanted to visit. Cape Wickham, of course, Narracoopa Jetty. I remember the big gaps in the jetty. So we've got to tick all those boxes and see all those things again. It's been awesome.
But it was also something with music, I believe.
Yeah, so that was a really strong memory. When I was in year 4, Tom Ganninan became the principal of the school, and he started up a concert band. My middle brother was old enough to join the band that year, but I had to wait another year. You could only join once you're in year 5. So the second year of the band I got to join, and I learnt the trombone. And Tom, he organised...
Is that the instrument where you hit people in front of you all the time?
That's the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got to play the trombone. Tom organised for different tutors to come over, I think a couple of times a term maybe, to tutor us on the weekends. And it was a really big thing. It felt like a big part of our life and a big part of island life at the time. It was a really exciting thing for the island. So Mum used to cook when we had the weekends. Mum was sort of involved with helping to cater. We even we took the band to Sydney one year when I was in it and got to tour with them, so that was really fun. So that was the start of my musical life. and I continued on learning, being involved in music, and then when we moved back to Burnie, I tried various instruments.
I believe then. So you're using the one instrument that nobody else can use.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I didn't start singing on the island, but I started music on the island, and that was a really important trajectory change for me.
And then became a professional singer?
Exactly. I went on, studied at the Con in Hobart, and then and singing's what took me to Brisbane. I went to Brisbane so I could keep studying singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and now I sing with Opera Queensland, so I'm about to go back and do a show with them now.
So maybe bring the opera one day to King Island?
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be something.
Yeah, in fact, one of my family members suggested we should write an opera about King Island.
What about the rough oceans and the shipwrecks?
Yeah, opera about shipwrecks. It's a good idea.
Yeah, why not?
It's been done before.
Yeah. Now, okay, then you come back now after all that time. I believe you even brought your parents with you, didn't you?
Yeah. So I brought my mum and my dad and two of my children and my brother and his partner. And unfortunately, another brother couldn't make it. He had to work.
So how, even for your parents, how is it then to come back? Because you guys haven't been back since that time, have you?
No. Dad has. Dad came back to work on some bushfires 10 years ago, apparently. But every shop that we walked in, every pub that we walked in, they knew someone. That everywhere we went, they knew someone and remembered people from that time. So yeah, it was really
So
good.
like for yourself, was it, before you came here, was it what you imagined? Because I'm sure you let your imaginations go when you decide to go
So I've
here.
always told my kids things about the island, like the weather's wild, which it has been this weekend. I remember King Island being very flat, and I remember King Island not really having tall trees. I remember it being the tea tree and things like that. So those memories are really what I remembered, but it's been the specific things that I've seen that have just jogged. It's been a really weird experience having my memory jogged by things that I haven't seen for 35 years. Today we visited the school. The principal took us through the school, and I saw a photo of myself in the museum from when I walked around King Island in probably 88 or 88. But also we went to walk into the primary school section, and I saw the hopscotch, and I remember playing hopscotch on that grid. And I remember seeing the sunken pit in the library, and like those sort of things have been bizarre memories.
You keep talking about memory. Is it almost like you're moving into part of your brain that has been closed for a long time?
It's been a really weird experience, but an awesome experience too. And things like, but for me it's been in little small details, like driving to Penny's Lagoon and seeing it go from that white gravelly soil to suddenly the grey soil that's around Penny's Lagoon. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that now. I can remember the cattle grid across where you go into Cape Wickham. Like really strange things to remember.
So can you say that strong memories are made between, say, the age of 6 and 12?
There must be really strong memories. I actually was telling a friend before I came here, how we were coming, and I was so excited to be coming here. I was talking about how I think it's because of the age that I was when I lived here. I feel like King Island formed me into who I am now more than my ever living on mainland Tasmania. I feel like this is where I was really formed. It's a weird concept to grab your head around, but maybe.
Yeah, well, you can also think, what is it that makes the connection so strong? Is it the element of an island? Is it the people? Is it what is it that keeps that binding element?
I don't know. There's something about the wildness of King Island that really resonates with me. Like I was looking at Cape Wickham Lighthouse yesterday, just thinking this strangely feels like home. So the wildness of the weather. I think I've always had I never like crowds. I've never been a person for crowds. So even though I'm an opera singer and I sing to lots of people.
Yeah, okay, but the crowd is in front of you. You're not amongst them that much.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, it's in the wildness of the place.
Is it also a little bit like, say, you were talking about the school band and that experience? Is it also a little bit where, don't get me wrong here, on a place like King Island, there's not masses to do, so it's restricted. So is it then whatever is there to do is more exciting, leaves a bigger impression?
And I think I just lived in my own imagination a lot as a child, and so I've got that, I think I always had a good imagination because I can remember, I think being at I remember getting firewood or something, chopping firewood with my family and playing in amongst the pine needles and being in my own land of fairies and things. But
Did you run into anybody that you hadn't seen for 36 years?
Probably was more adults, like parents of my friends that I've seen. I kind of hoped to find some of my school friends, but I didn't bump into any. And I know that I tried to knock on Barb and Vin Holthouse's door, but they went home. Their daughter was my best friend at school. I do have a great story that I'll share. Was when I was talking before about when I walked around the island. That was in year 5. Olga Compass was my teacher, and we raised money for the Gould League. I think we took 7 days to walk around the island or something like that. But a boy called Alan Olsen was in my class at school, and he found a message in a bottle washed up on a beach somewhere on the trip, and that message ended up being from a girl in Germany, and I think she'd been on her father's ship or something and thrown it overboard. So he wrote to her, and she was a little bit older than us in grade 5, and she asked if her English class in Germany could pair up with people from our year 5 class. So from that experience I got a pen friend named Claudia, and she and I are still in contact, and I've even met her. I met her probably 10 years ago now when she visited Australia. So that's a really cool story from...
Are you going to wait another 36 years now to come back again?
No, I don't know if I need to come back again, whether this was just the sort of bow on top.
But did you do that more for your parents or for yourself, or a mix?
A mix, really. I knew that Mum and Dad have been back and they're still in contact with people, but for me, coming back was more about seeing the places, because I was so young, I wasn't sure that there wasn't too many people I needed to see, but I wanted to revisit the places in my memory. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be back. My husband didn't get to come this trip, so maybe I might bring him another time.
So then you come back to Brisbane and people say, tell me about King Island. What is King Island? What would you tell them in a short sort of little version?
Well, I would tell them that the weekend was extraordinary from the experience of revisiting my memories. The island is beautiful in its own wild way. It's really simple, a simple way of life that I find really appealing. It's wild, just watching the waves roll in, and it's just been so windy this weekend. It's uniquely beautiful. Yeah.